Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today's Tuesday, October the 21st, and this is your froggy-voiced Anne-Marie Band with the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. You know, my voice is normally just fine until I start trying to record, and then the gremlins come out. So that happens. Speaking of gremlins, those of us on Top Step X that have been running through things, hopefully you gave yourself a nice mental break, stepped away from the charts. The AWS platform has done a number on the charts. They are back, but we are missing data, and so you'll need to look at another platform to help you with what actually went on in terms of support and resistance. Today, we are above the 0 DTE call wall at 67.50. We are below the call resistance wall for the weeklies and monthlies at 6,800. Right now, we're trapped in a box. We're dancing right around the open of the candlestick at 6 p.m. And what we are staring down is, Anthony Crudelli's daily morning notes told us that what we have is the strength of the dollar giving a pressure. That could be it. It certainly is giving us a drift down. It could also be, hey, let's see if we're holding support. I used to say all the time, traders are a bit neurotic, right? We go through a door and then we turn around and we test the door to make sure it's still locked. And so that's really what's happening with this support floor. Support floor 67.62. Here's the rub. The 0 DTE is below it at 67.50. So these guys who sold the calls are in trouble if we can't get down below this area. And so what they will do to shift the overall bearish/bullish formations in their portfolio, they're going to buy the index and then very likely shift the 0 DTE call wall up. All right? Everyone is saying, hey, we're out of the woods, off to new horizons. Let's say that's true. What do we have to look at? The next gamma line in the sand is 6,825. That will be the number that we will look at next. And then 6,850 is a gamma line much further away. So not quite sure we'll get to this gamma line 6. You never know. But we could have another rocket ship of movement, very heavy congestion on the 4-hour formation. Volume yesterday, fairly light. Why? Because AWS houses a lot of these places, right? There's no trading on a ton of different platforms. I suspect, look, the range is about the same. So we're looking at about 22 points or so in this range. Dips, 67.62. Buy zone, you want to be careful, make sure it doesn't slip. What am I going to look for? I'm going to see if I can get value area high, if I can get heavy congestion at this 67.27-ish zone. That would be my thought about buying a dip. I'm going to be very careful here. Momentum is essentially flat to negative, but it's been also negative and positive, so a little bit of a fight. No big price action behavior here. What do we have going on? So today, Fed speaker twice. Isn't that interesting? So we have no news, but we do have earnings on the horizon. Got a few earnings. And of course, the analysts play the game of, hey, we will bring our estimates down so you guys can, beat them. Anyways, that's what we're staring down. Put wall, 6,700. 6,500 is the weekly put support. That was 6,400, folks. They've moved it up, right? So that's what we're staring down. The put walls have been moved up, so they are anticipating upside pressure, but not so much upside pressure that they've shifted the call wall just yet. We'll be watching for that. Let's take a look at the NQ. They, of course, being institutional money. All right, what's going on here? Oh, wow, almost back to all-time highs as we take a look at the NQ. Well outside value area high, which is 25,100-ish. Value area low, 24,600. Yeah. Big break to the upside, big continuation. Now we're looking at higher highs, right? So let's see what this arc looks like here. See if we can keep ourselves somewhere around here. If we breach the call wall, we will be up over that trend line as well. The call wall for the 0 DTEs, as well as major call resistance on the week, is 25,350. That's very interesting. The put wall for the 0 DTEs, 25,200. Put support, 23,750. Still well below. So what are the traders going to do? Well, it's a dip buying formation, but again, very shallow volume on this big run to the upside. Could have to do with the AWS business, but we shall see, right? So what do we expect traders to do? Buy the dip. They are sitting right on top of the anchored VWAP. Let's go to the 1 hour chart. They're bouncing off of that zone. I'm going to shift this line down here to the corresponding gamma wall at 25,250. Okay? That's going to be the support edge, 25,250. They're going to try and bounce. Remember, the traders want to keep it inside of the call wall and above the put wall. They want to keep it right in this box. And could we very well sit in this box? Absolutely. If we lose the put support, expect a spike that bounces, and if the bounce cannot recover the prior day's anchored VWAP, we'll have ourselves some downside continuation, which should take us back into the value area high for this 1 hour chart. It's kind of sloppy, right? This line here is, I'm going to put it up here, old resistance, see if it comes back and tests as support, 25,130, right? And that will be a nice price action event. The put wall, holy smokes, where's that put wall? Oh, all the way down at 23,750. So that essentially remains the same. Dips or buys, but notice how the candlesticks have been really retracing each other. We've got a wide box where we can see that it's holding. VWAP kind of flat. Edges, going to give you a key area. Let's take a look at oil. Oil is in its, since it dropped in here, 1, 2, 3. This is his 4th day of sitting in this relative formation. Point of control, $57. Anchored VWAP from 5 days ago looks like 58.19. A lot of CTAs, commodity technical traders, are bearish here. Put wall, the big put wall is 55. The 0 DTE put support is 54.50. The 0 DTE call wall is 60. And the call resistance is at 65. My suspicion is that this is sitting the way it is because of a fear of some geopolitical risk. I think that's why these call walls are so far away. Now, what about what's happening right now? Well, clearly they are trying to stay inside of this area at 57.50. If it breaks out above 57.50, it should make its way up into 58.50, right? And you know what I think about the word should. I use it all the time, but I probably should say it could move up into that area, right? That's probably more appropriate. So I'm going to work on that language. Market should do anything, right? It could do anything. So that's what we're staring down. Sideways formation, but bullish, and a lot of price action volume coming into the morning that's outsized in general. All right, let's go to gold. Beauty. All right, so gold is in a bit of a range, right? We know that there's a lot of dollar strength this morning, but this finally is showing me that we really have got something that looks like a topping formation. So where's that going to run? Well, I got to tell you, they're going to try and hold 4,200, and they're going to bounce again. That's my thought. They're going to bounce to a lower high, potentially 4,327. Look where the put wall is. 4,360. That, my friends, is very far away. Put support for the monthly, still down here at 3,800, right? Call walls, all of them, 4,400. You guys know that I'm bearish gold in the short term because I believe we should have a rotation literally all the way back to 3,800. But it's going to be choppy, and people are going to continue to buy the dip. But this, I believe, is a topping formation. How does a topping formation work? First thing we want to do is see if it holds 4,200. They're going to try and battle that. Look at all this inventory right here. They're not going to come in here and just fall. There are going to be some wicks. The wicks could resolve to the upside. Trend still up. Momentum savagely down, so you don't want to step in front of the long. But as it comes into this 4,200 area, watch it for the wicks that hold higher so that you can get engaged. But gold, I suspect, I think we have a topping in metals in general at this point, right? Just in the short term cycle, I think we're in a topping formation. So if I'm wrong, we get back up to 4,360 and hold the line, and then we break up into the 4,500. Otherwise, we come down here, we try to hold the 4,200, we get to that very pesky 4,270-ish area, 4,280, which I think is a line in the sand, anywhere between that zone. It's about 15 points wide. That's where I think the topping framework is going to sit. And that'll give us our next rotation down. If we do a measured move, 42 to 44 gives us 200 points to the downside. We end up here at the 4,000 level. All right, let's get to SPY finally. All right, SPY very sideways. 0 DTE call wall, 672. I think it was 671 yesterday, maybe. Today, 672. The big call resistance, 675. That has stayed here. I believe that, I wouldn't be surprised if we get to 700, 725 by the end of the year. I mean, I really wouldn't. But I also would not be surprised if we are at 645. What is the chart telling us? Look at the wide range of inventory accumulation. We are in the bottom part of that zone, so below $670. If we have any wicks that are hard, those first wicks are going to give us a buy. If we cannot get up over 671.50, we've got ourselves a rotation down into this area. Looks a lot like a double bottom. If we rotate this up, we can see that that's about where that edge is. So we'll see, right? Dips or buys, clearly. Look at the bullish motion. Solid, but low volume yesterday. So we'll see what happens today. Hopefully it'll come in, give us a nice dip where we can take a bounce. All right. Stay frosty, folks. Coming into about 5 more days of sideways motion to more volatility, and then, we should be off to the races with more upside, but the market will tell us we could be up and off to the right for the races. Yeah, that's going to be hard language for me to manage. Could versus should. Yes. All right, everybody, take care. I'm on the Benzinga Pro Show today at 11, also on Top Step TV at 12, and VIP Top Step at the Hive. We've got a special event coming this afternoon. I'll keep you guys posted in on that. Take care, everybody. Stay frosty.